So welcome to the Candidates Forum for the town of Juno Beach. Tonight we'll hear from candidates for mayor, as well as council seats 1 and 3. My name is Ken Thomas. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Palm Beach County, and I'll be serving as your moderator tonight. Yes, it's okay to applaud for me. Thank you. For those of you not familiar with the League of Women Voters, we're a nonpartisan organization dedicated to good government. We do not endorse or do we oppose political candidates or parties. We focus on the issues. The League has been in existence and operating in Palm Beach County since 1958, and in the United States for the last 106 years. So it's a pretty long-lived organization. It's our purpose in sponsoring forums such as this to provide you with an opportunity to hear from the candidates and allow them to discuss the issues that are of importance to you. By doing so, we hope that the information that you hear tonight will help you cast informed votes for the office of mayor and the open commission seats. Oh yes, and since 1972, men have been allowed to be members of the League of Women Voters. Okay, so as a League member, I've had many opportunities to have a good and impactful impact on our local and state and even national organization. As a matter of fact, believe it or not, from 2019 to 2021, I was the president of the League of Women Voters here in Palm Beach County. That one was not when you were supposed to applaud for. You were supposed to sympathize with. But no, I'm having too much fun already. Okay, I'll get in trouble. But if you're interested in having an impact in your community as well, I encourage you to consider joining up with the League of Women Voters, and you can visit our table in the back on your way out tonight and pick up some information, as well as get more information by going to lwvpbc.org, League of Women Voters, Palm Beach County.org, lwvpbc.org, to get more information. So as you're aware, the powers and duties of the town government will have an impact on your residents, your business, your environment, your neighborhoods, your children's futures, and so much more. The election of your town's mayor and council members is an important responsibility that you hold. So I thank you for inviting the League to moderate this forum for you tonight. Your interest in hearing from the candidates before you cast your vote is commended. So yes, you're going to hear a few more minutes from me because I need to give you the ground rules, let you know what the ground rules are, and explain the format for tonight as well. For tonight, we're doing a candidates forum, not a debate. In a forum, according to Lee's guidelines, each candidate answers each question. Their responses are timed. There may or may not be a rebuttal. Questions will come from you, the audience, in writing. No shouting out questions or microphones. And the rules for the forum have already been explained to the candidates, but here's a brief review just for you, and I need to slow down. The candidates and their supporters are expected to conduct themselves appropriately. Disruptions take away from the audience's opportunity to hear from the candidates. I ask for you all to please hold your applause until the end of the forum, when you will be able to, at that time, applaud with gusto. I encourage all candidates to please use this time to address the issues that are raised by the constituents. Speaking out of turn and other disruptions will not be tolerated. Please turn off or mute your cell phones now. And that's also for the audience. Now, I know you all have heard that speech before in different gatherings, and every time you've heard it, I bet somewhere in the audience, someone's phone has gone off, and we all just turn around and look at that person, right? So do you want to be that one tonight? Just thought I'd ask. And before I go any farther, I'm going to turn my phones off. Because I know my wife, she will call me. So yes, I am stopping my... Written questions for the candidates are currently being accepted from the audience. And if you have a card with a question that you wish to submit, just raise your hand and one of the ladies, including Linda, who are roaming around, will be happy to pick up your question and review it. For questions to be presented tonight to the candidates, they may not be directed at any one candidate. All candidates must be able to answer the question. Questions may be combined or restated for clarity or for relevance, so it's possible that your question may not be asked exactly as you wrote it. This is an educational event and not a political event, and as such, personal and attack questions will be disqualified. All questions that are submitted will be reviewed considering these criteria. I need for you to also be aware that the views expressed are those of the candidates and not those of the League of Women Voters. And sponsorship of this event is not an endorsement of any candidate. So, we're on the home stretch. Before I explain the format for tonight, I offer a warm welcome and thanks to the candidates for their participation today. All candidates who met the town's qualification requirements have been invited to participate tonight, and we want you to get to know them and where they stand on the issues important to you and all Juno Beach residents. Joining us this evening are for the respective offices. For mayor, would you please state your name, and you can turn your mics on. Here's a chance to test your microphones as well. State your name and the office that you're running for, and that's all we need right now.
Hi everybody, my name is Elaine Kochernakis and I'm running for the seat of mayor.
Good evening, I'm Dave Santilli. I'm also running for the seat of mayor. Thanks.
Good evening, my name is Eddie Gottschalk. I'm running for Town Council, Seat 3.
My name is Marianne Hofstad, and I'm running for Council Seat number 1. Good evening.
My name is Scott Shaw. I'm running for seat number 1, Council Seat number 1.
Thank you all. Additionally, Mr. Frazier extends his deepest regrets for not being able to attend tonight. I also want to offer thanks to Loggerhead Fitness Center for providing tonight's refreshments and for partnering with Thank you very much. And thank you to the volunteers from the League of Women Voters, as well as some community members who are helping to bring this forum to you. So here's the format, and then we'll get started. The candidates here are seated alphabetically by their last names from left to right, from your left to right at the table labeled for the position or office in which they're seeking to hold. Each candidate will be given an opportunity to provide a 2-minute introduction starting from your left and moving to the right. Candidates will be called upon in alphabetical order to answer your questions. A drawing was held just prior to us starting to see who would hold the first question, who would get the first question, and that question goes to Eddie.
Yes, yes, sir.
I've got all of that. Okay, good. And he will answer that question using up to 1 minute, and then the other candidates may answer the same question, again with a 1 minute limit. A candidate may rebut an answer provided by previous candidates, but that rebuttal is part of your 1 minute response time. The opportunity to answer succeeding questions first will then be given to the next candidate in the alphabet, allowing all of the candidates the opportunity to be first answering questions. And finally, seated in front of you candidates right here at this table are our timekeepers for opening statements, the Q&As, as well as closing statements. The volunteers will hold up a paddle or a sign when you have 1 minute left in your introduction and your closing, when you have 15 seconds left, and when your time has expired. I encourage you to watch the timekeepers for these alerts. Time limits will be strictly observed, or I'll have to interrupt you as needed. Candidates, please remain quiet after your time has expired. And once again, I encourage you to answer the questions being asked by your constituents. I do expect to have enough time tonight to ask approximately 12 questions of each candidate. After the question and answer session is complete, each candidate will have the opportunity for a 2 minute closing statement. For that, we will go in reverse order. If you recall, when we do the opening statement, we're starting on your left and moving to the right. For closing statements, we're going to start on the right and move to the left, trying to be as fair as we possibly can. Is that all clear?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear? Yes. Great. We know that there's never enough time to cover all of the issues that you may come up with in such a setting as this. But please feel free to get with the candidates after this event or contact them directly after the event or anytime. I'm sure they'd be delighted to hear from you and speak with you. So to begin, timekeepers, are you ready for the 2 minute opening statement? And we will start with Lane. I have to admit, beforehand they agreed to allow me to call them by first name. And if that's okay with you, Ms. Hosta, I'll call you Mary. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome. Nice to have you this evening. Please.
Hello, everybody. It's working, yes. As I stated a minute ago, my name is Elaine Kochernakis, and I'm running for the seat of mayor. Experience, collaborative, independent are 3 words that describe me the easiest and the fastest. I'm experienced. I sat on the dais before. I represented you, had the great honor of representing you. I have built a great working relationship with our staff and our residents, other local officials and other municipalities, and even the county and the state. I'm collaborative. I listen. I want to represent you and be your independent voice on the council. So a little bit of background. My husband and I have lived here for nearly 20 years. We raised our family here. My parents live with me half of the year, so I live in a multi-generational home. That gives me a very unique experience in what our residents want, what our residents need, and then I also listen to you and take my knowledge to the dais. One thing that living in a multi-generational home, among others, is you have to be able to listen to one another. Listen to understand, not listen to react or respond. We need to work together and come to an agreement to move forward. And that applies in town. I think that if you collaborate with one another, if you listen to one another, you will be able to move forward for the town and put our residents first. So I thank you for hosting tonight, to the League of Women Voters, and to Rick and Loggerhead Fitness. Thank you very much. And I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Please, if you would please hold your applause until the end. David, 2 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you. As you see, my name here is David, which is what my mother used to call me when she was upset with me. I go by Dave. I've lived in Juno Beach for 20 years. I spent the first 27 years of my life centered around the Army. I was an Army brat. I moved every 2 to 3 years from one base to another. When you move as a kid, you lose all your friends. You show up in a new place, you got to meet all new people, and you do that about every 2 to 3 years. So Army brats tend to be adaptive and resilient. I went to West Point after leaving home, and I graduated from there in 1981 with an engineering degree. I served 6 years as an Army officer, 3 of them in Germany. I got an MBA from Oklahoma City University in 1987 and moved here and went to work for Florida Power and Light. So I worked there for 38 years. I retired about 6 months ago. I spent the first decade or so working in power plants as an engineer and a plant manager. I spent the last couple of decades working in our engineering and construction division, managing power projects and environmental projects. I learned a lot while there. I got extensive experience negotiating contracts and working out deals with stakeholders. I learned a lot about environmental practices. Most of our projects had requirements to mitigate impacts on wetlands, for example, or birds, bats, turtles, manatees. One of my favorite mini projects was creating a manatee heater when plants were offline to warm embayments so the manatees had a place to go. I'm ready to serve, continue serving for the town council, and I hope you'll consider my candidacy. Thanks.
Thank you. Please, Eddie.
Again, my name is Eddie Gottschalk, running for Town Council Seat 3. A little bit of background about me is I first stepped foot in Juno Beach in 1988. I was 17 years old, and I'd never seen anything so beautiful. And I knew right then and there, this is the place I was going to end up. A detour in my life happened. I joined the FBI, became a special agent. That put my plans off for a considerable amount of time. But my neighbor here, Mary Ann Fleming, can attest. She's known me for decades now. I used all my vacation time to come back here. In this place, even though I lived in Connecticut, worked in New York City, this place was home. There's nothing in the world I feel more passionate about than this place. And I love seeing all these faces out because this lets me know that everyone feels just as passionate as I do about our home. I go to Loggerhead Fitness every morning since 2019, and the only time I was disappointed in Juno Beach was honestly when I saw credit going up. I mean, this place is paradise, and I saw that. I'm like, what's going on? Former Mayor Jason Hasselhorn goes to Loggerhead Fitness pretty much every morning as well. I'm like Jason, how does this happen? I was still working as a FBI agent. He told me the process and the challenges that the town faces, and I'm like, you know what? I'm about 2 or 3 years away from retirement, but when I retire, I want to do something about this. I want to keep this place gorgeous, pristine, beautiful, the place that we love. I retired, and I stick to my work, and here I am. I retired about a year ago. Very first opportunity, here I am. It was a good detour, however. I learned how to work cases and track down issues with honesty, integrity, following the facts and evidence in front of me. And I intend to use all my years of law enforcement and legal experience to serve my town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Please hold.
Good evening. My name is Marian Hoster, and when I look here at the audience, I recognize practically everybody. I know even your name. I know when you came to life. Did you understand me before, or should I repeat? Okay. When I look at the audience here, I recognize so many people. I know your names, I know where you live. I feel like I'm one of your neighbors. Now, I'm not a newcomer. I have served for 3 years on the council. I enjoyed my time. And I'm bringing now an experience of 3 years to the council that I can use and improve upon, which I'm of course planning. I would like to say, of course, I'm for responsible development, I'm for fiscal responsibility, and I want to protect our beaches, parks, and preserve land. Now, you should know me a little bit. I'm a retired mathematics teacher. I taught for 30 years at a public high school in New York, which taught me a lot of social skills because I must have met at least 5,000 students and their parents over the years. I worked in a big school, 2,000 students, 200 teachers, and I loved my job. Now, what I want to say, and I have only 15 seconds, it's very bad, that I would like to state the following. People always accuse me that I voted for Coretta. I did not. Thank you.
Okay, and Scott.
Yeah, hello, my name is Scott Shaw. I live on Apollo Drive, and I'm running for town council, seat number 1. I'm originally from a small town in central Pennsylvania, Penn State, degree in electrical engineering, lots of work in fossil and nuclear power stations, 4 kids, remarried in 1999 and moved to Florida. Living in Juno Beach for the last 8 years, I got remarried and told my boss I would likely to be leaving. He said no. He suggested I work from home and commute to Pittsburgh a week per month. So I'm like one of the first remote workers. In Pittsburgh, I would daydream about my flight back to Juneau, enjoying the warm weather, the beach, picking up litter, seashells, and picking up those pieces of colored glass that get smoothed off in the waves. I would meet a lot of other folks doing the same. I mentioned that I work with power plants. When a problem comes up, it needs to be solved quickly because the plant is their sole source of revenue. Issues go to upper management quickly. You have to dig in, understand the problem, and drive towards a solution. You can't say things like, what are we talking about? Or what did we decide? Or I don't understand. You have to understand the problem. You have to be cognizant. You have to enter the meeting prepared. A year ago, I learned of a monster mansion plan to be built next to me. The plan shows the house has 9 toilets. So I nicknamed it the 9-toilet Airbnb. I started attending council and PC meetings and became more dismayed as I learned more. We're in the midst of a build-up that is moving too fast, too big, and I'm opposed to it. Reasonable controlled growth is a better idea. I'm in favor of harmony provisions. My house is appreciated at 15% per year for 8 years, and I'm happy about that. I've been walking around passing out flyers, and everyone agrees with me that it's too fast, too big, and too ugly.
Thank you. And your time has expired.
Thank you.
And so if we can please hold the applause to the end, that way we can just keep rolling along and get as many of your questions in as possible. As I mentioned earlier, Eddie won the draw for question number 1, and I have to admit, of all the questions here, this was probably going to be the last of the easy ones. Please share your educational background and your professional skill set that makes you the better candidate to handle complex building and fiscal issues.
Okay, so my educational background, I went to Fairfield University in Connecticut. I got my bachelor's degree in business administration. After that, I went to law school at Quinnipiac College School of Law in Hampton, Connecticut. Graduated there. I took and passed both the Connecticut bar exam and the Florida bar exam. I'm still currently a member of both bars. While I was in college and law school, I worked as a carpenter and went to the FBI, became a special agent, learned team leadership, how to be a leader, how to be a role player when that is applicable. I learned that you follow the evidence, you follow the facts, and when a difficult issue comes up and you're not an expert in that issue, you consult with an expert. You don't do anything without thoroughly running down the facts and making yourself an expert in the issue or consulting an expert. I'm now a business owner, and that's my background. Thank you.
Same question, Marianne?
Yes,
Microphone, please.
I have a bachelor's degree from a university in Germany, and I have a master's degree from the university at New Paltz, the New York State University at New Paltz. I touched already my 30 years of teaching and how it helped me to get along with people, but in addition, I would like to say I was a math teacher at a high school. So numbers are very important for me. I will watch how the money is spent in Juno Beach, and I will make sure that there is no waste. I love numbers.
My degree is a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Penn State. Like I said, I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania, about 52 miles from State College. And when I graduated, I had went to work at a power station near Kaiser, West Virginia. And as soon as I got there was a wildcat strike. So I slept in the plant for 2 weeks, 12 hours a day. And then when it was over, I went up to see my dad, and I paid him a little bit of money that I had owed him for college. And I was totally debt-free at that moment. So that was a story I love to tell.
Same question, right?
So I went to the University of Cuyahoga Community College in Cleveland, Ohio. And beyond that, my expertise took me to Washington, D.C., where my husband went to law school at Georgetown University, and I worked for Georgetown Hospital and helped support our family until he graduated law school. Then I went to the University of Life, and that is where I think we all get the best experience. We deal with our families, we deal with our communities, we deal with our churches, our organizations, and we learn and grow every day of our lives. Education is not a degree, it's life.
David.
Okay, thanks. I think I jumped the gun and answered most of these questions in my introduction. I'm a West Point graduate with an engineering degree and an MBA, and as I look out there, I see I'm not the only one here. Dave Hurley, thanks for coming. I think my skill set that I can bring to our town is negotiating contracts. I've got a ton of experience doing that. When I look at what was done with Coretta and some of the other developments, some were good, some were bad. It's very difficult to negotiate contracts, but I think it's always worth asking. I've always found that a middle ground can be reached in negotiations if you ask, and I think I can help our town do that. Thanks.
I know it's hard, but please allow us to keep going. Okay, next question, and this one starts with Marianne. The council recently voted on repealing ordinances which require architectural reviews, adherence to harmony codes, and review of new construction. Something the zoning and planning board, probably through them. A 3-2 vote approved ordinances 795, 96, and 797 to remove long-standing codes. All 3 yes votes are cast by council members up for election on March 10th. What is your view on this decision? Should the current council push the approval through prior to the election, or should the voters be able to decide?
Well, this is
And
going
the
to be,
microphone, please.
thank you for reminding me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is actually a very easy question for me. I'm right now at the council. We are going to meet tomorrow, and we are going to answer these questions in a town hall setting. And I think I would violate sunshine law if I made any statements about it.
Thank you. Scott?
Thank you. As I mentioned, I have the 9-toilet Airbnb growing up behind me, and I I looked at the report from the PZ, and they cited 5 times where it was out of harmony. And then they summarized with the statement, this plan is out of harmony. So what I noticed was that the report was expressed by Stephen Mayer, the planner, cogently and reasonably. So my view is that we should be able to maintain harmony provisions, and I am in support of them. And I'm opposed to the passage of 795, 6, and 7.
Elaine?
I believe in harmony. Harmony's been in our code since 1992. I believe in personal property rights. And in regards to what the council does or does not do tomorrow, it's their prerogative. You all have elected them. They're sitting on the dais representing you. So it's up to them if they choose to continue and cast that vote. If they leave it to us, if I'm going to be elected, I'll sit up there and I will go ahead and take care of those issues at that time. I'm not going to second guess what our council is doing. We voted for them. We have to let them represent us.
David?
I'm opposed to what the council is proposing to do. I'm opposed to making compliance with the harmony requirements voluntary or discretionary. I think that our code requirements should stay as written today, and they do need some clarification, which hopefully we can do in the future, but I'm opposed to repealing them.
Okay. And Andy?
Yes, I know this is a polarizing issue. I'm against architectural review. And in my experience as an attorney and an FBI agent, I've been dealing with the law my entire life. We have ordinances. Those ordinances were written by the town. Those are our set of rules. Now, if someone comes with a plan, they spent money on the property, they spent money on an engineer, architect, to come up with a set of plans to build a new building that follows all the rules of the ordinances. To have then someone come in and say like, yeah, I know you followed all the rules, but no, I just don't think it fits in. That's not a law. If you have a problem with the way houses are being built, you change the law so people know what to expect when they spend money on property, on engineering, and on architecture. The current board, the current council, they've been working on this for 1.5 years, I understand. They know the ins and outs. They're the experts in the issue. If it's not passed and it's left to any of us, I'm fine to take that burden on, but I'd have to get up to speed, and that's a process. Thank you.
Next question is, let's see. Question number 3, we start with Scott. And Scott, mixed-use development ratios in our commercial zone areas. For commercial zone properties, mixed-use development is allowed at 75% residential and 25% commercial, with a special exception up to 80% residential for extraordinary projects. Do you support the 75-25 or some other mix? And what if the current property is 100% commercial, would that change your opinion?
I think that we should not, I think that we have a too much focus and too much aggressive building of condominiums because they make more profit. And I think that the 75-25 mix that's been established is probably the right thing to do.
Thank you. Elaine?
Whatever our town codes and laws and comp plans say is what we should be following. We can change it if we don't like it, but at the end of the day, 75-25 is the law, 75-25 is what it should be.
I also agree with preserving our 75-25 split. It can be varied to 80-20 under special exception requirements, but I do not think we should exceed 80-20 unless there is some windfall or extraordinary reason, which I can't really imagine. I think exceeding that may benefit developers at the expense of citizens and at the expense of our town character.
Thank you, David. Eddie?
Yes, thank you. I'm glad this topic came up. I had an extensive conversation with my new friend Mercedes last night about this issue, and I gotta tell you, so I understand the arguments on both sides. However, and this is no offense against anyone, but I hear a lot of I think, and this is my opinion, and I feel, and that's all great. You know, when I introduced myself to you folks, I said I take an investigative approach, a factual-based approach. And I got to tell you, I am not an expert on how different percentages of residential and commercial affect, the density, the traffic, all this and that. I told you, I'm the person, I follow the evidence. And when there's a complex issue that I don't understand, I consult an expert. Listen, if an expert is consulted on traffic patterns, on density, how it's going to affect the flow of the city, and he says 75-25, that's going to guarantee that we get to where we want to be, that's great, but I want an expert opinion. I'm not an expert on it.
Thank you.
I personally think 75-25 is a very good starting point. But then again, there could be special exceptions that bring advantages to the town where the council can deviate from that basic rule. And again, as Eddie said next to me, I'm not an expert. I would like to listen to traffic engineers, I would like to listen to planners, and I would weigh whatever they tell me with common sense and and a hope and a love for Juno Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, we start with Elaine. The council has recently approved the development of the Coretta project at Donald Ross and US 1 with approximately 100 new residences. Of the properties at this intersection have recently sold. What is your vision for further development at Donald Ross and US 1? Especially, what should the ratio be for residential versus commercial, pretty much like the last question, and how would you protect Juno Beach from overdevelopment?
Well, I answered part of that already. Coretta was approved unanimously by 5 votes on the council. It was approved 4-1 from planning and zoning, and one of those members is now on the council. And it was per code at the time. Today, 95.5 is not part of the code. It's 75-25 with 80-20 exception. So that wouldn't be happening. Yes, there are other developments have been sold, and yes, I will follow the laws, and I'll get the best product I can for our community with the laws and the comp plan that Juno Beach holds firm today.
Same question, David.
So I also believe that our code, 75-25, and not to exceed a 80-20 ratio of residential to commercial is valid and should be adhered to. One thing I'm real concerned about is the disappearance of businesses in our town. And I think keeping the 80-20 rule preserves the creation of new businesses and any new development, and also helps keep the other businesses where they are and thriving and able to continue to sign long-term leases and provide our citizens the services they need. I think the last thing any of us want to do is to have to cross the bridge to go to the gym, to go to the grocery store, to do any of those types of activities. Thanks.
You know, when I learned that Coretta was voted unanimously, I'm like, well, how did this happen? No one likes Coretta. Like, how was this approved? Well, yeah, like Elaine said, the law was followed. These are our laws. That developed followed our laws. Who's the town saying now, no, we don't like that. Well, we followed your laws. That's when I decided, like, hey, I have to do something about this. Like, when I first found out decades ago that the maximum height of a building in Juno, which is 4 stories, at a young, naive age, I was like, that's awesome. This place will never be overdeveloped. This place will always be small. And then I see how intrusive a place like Coretta could be, and now we're going to have Pulte. That intersection is going to be a disaster. The town and county's got, the state and county's got no choice but to add additional lanes to Route 1 and Donald Ross. And you think you're unhappy now, like I'm unhappy? We haven't seen anything yet. You know, I think we have to explore changing the ordinance, because the ordinance as it's written now, it's not working for us. You see what's happening and what's going to continue to happen.
Marianne?
Yes, I will take this opportunity again to state that I did not vote for Coretta. Coretta was approved by the Planning and Zoning Board, plus by the Town Council in 2022. I became a councillor in 2023. I was not asked. Would I have voted for it? I don't know. Maybe I would have had some other ideas. But right now, it's like asking a Parisian, do you like the Eiffel Tower? Well, whether he likes it or not, it's there. And Coretta is there, is a fact. And it caused a lot of disharmony in our town. And when I encourage people to give it time, to please wait until the shrubs, the trees, the grass is there, and it will be better. It's not because I love it, but at the same time, I'm pragmatic. And want to have peace in our town and welcome the new neighbors who buy there. Thank you.
Scott?
Yeah, thank you. The Coretta was approved in 2022 prior to our current council member, seat number 1, being on the council. But then in 2023, in August, there was a motion to approve resolution 2023-12, which had dealt with parking, and that was approved unanimously. And we had heard from Elaine that it was approved unanimously. So that's what I think about it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next, excuse me, I can't turn my head if this thing's going with me. The next question will start with David. In January 2024, enhanced financial disclosure requirements known as Form 6 were imposed on municipal officials, leading to some office holders to leave before the end of their terms. The requirements were later struck down by the courts. If similar enhanced financial disclosure requirements are reinstated, would you resign or continue to serve?
I will continue to serve, but I'd like to say that I agree that the Form 6 financial disclosure requirements were excessive, and I can understand why a lot of elected officials all around the state resigned rather than adhere to them. So I think that was an issue. The Form 1 is less obtrusive. Perhaps if there is a different financial disclosure, that would be more fair to elected officials. But no matter what it is, I will stay in office and serve. Thank you.
Next.
Yeah, so, I have no problem with the financial disclosure requirements, and this is not to like say, look at me or pat myself on the back. The fact of the matter is, my entire FBI career, I've had top secret security clearance, polygraph every 5 years, extremely extensive financial disclosure every year. Yeah, so I mean, I still hold my top secret security clearance, given that my last polygraph was only 2 years ago. It's valid for 5 years. So yeah, no issue at all with financial disclosure.
Marion.
Of course, I do not have any problems with it. We all know that teachers are underpaid. So, I have no problem to declaring this. And my husband had a position at IBM in management. So we absolutely, we have a good life, but by no means an excessive life. And I have no problem to share all financial disclosures with anybody who wants to see and hear about it. Thank you.
Scott.
I'm with Eddie. I don't have any problem at all with financial disclosure. So I don't have anything in my background or in my checkbook that I'm worried about. So I have no problem.
Thank you. The next question, sorry, same question.
I'm pretty sure this one was geared towards me, so I'll be happy to answer it and clear it up, and I hope everyone hears me this time. So, I chose not to seek re-election because I was selected to be part of a delegation to serve internationally. And I did that with honor. I chose to resign so you, the residents of Juno Beach, had full representation the months of January and February. 2 meetings I missed in my whole 3 years on council. And I resigned because I had a personal family emergency. I will not go any more detail into that because it was a personal family emergency. Go back and look at the minutes. It's written. It's stated.
And the next question will start with Eddie. If you're elected to town council, will you ensure that any single-family architectural appearance ordinance will be rejected, which represents loss in single-family home buildable square footage and its asset value?
I think I understand the question, and if I go off track, please let me know. But no, I think that, like I said before, when you're a law school, I mean, it's very clear. Laws have to be very specific about what the requirements are. Our zoning laws are crafted in a specific way because you can't follow them. Because when you spend money on a piece of property and you spend money on plans and you follow every single rule, yeah, that should go through, no problem. I followed your rules, the town's rules. So to have these subjective barriers as to size or appearance or anything like that, no, I'm not for it. You can't have a subjective override to a law. It absolutely makes no sense. Like a child can understand this. If you tell a child, hey, your bedtime is 8 p.m., he's in bed at 7:30 p.m., he gets punished the next day, like, what's the problem? Well, I know the rule is 8 p.m., but you still went to bed too late, you're punished. That's crazy. A child could understand this. So no, ordinance. If you don't like it, change the ordinance.
Thank you, Eddie. Mary Ann, same question.
Yes, I don't think that our laws have been used and practiced for many, many years. It's not like it happened like 2-3 years ago, and we have been always abiding by them. And now we have the slogan in our town, keep Juno Beach, Juno Beach. So obviously they must have worked because people like what they see. And they find Juno Beach is an attraction for them to live there. So I would say we have zoning laws. Don't put additional burdens on owners that might result in financial damages. So follow the laws that we have. Don't make up rules.
What I'm a person that I mentioned the Monster Mansion behind me, and so I read these rules, and what I find is that you measure the plan against the average, and it's like, to me, it's not like subjective. It's kind of obvious when a plan is out of kilter, and it's expressed cogently and reasonably by our planner. In other words, if you have a ranch house that's 1,800 feet and somebody wants to build something that's 4,000 feet, okay, but when it's bigger than that, it becomes obvious that it's
And your
like,
time is up.
yeah.
And your
Thank
time
you.
is up. Thank you. I'm sorry, Elaine?
I like Juno Beach the way Juno Beach is. I believe in our codes, I believe in our comp plans. If people are following the laws, they should be entitled to build what they want on their own personal property.
And ready? David, go ahead.
Thank you. I feel our architectural review guidelines are valid and that we should keep them. I agree there's likely some vagueness in them that needs to be clarified. So I think we as a council would need to visit or revisit that in the future. But I think there's many towns around the country and around Florida that have preserved architectural character. And I think we can do that too. We may have to find creative ways to do it. We don't want to disadvantage or penalize any property owner. So I think the middle ground though can be found, and that we need to continue to try to implement architectural controls. Thank you.
For the next question, we'll start with Mary Ann.
Yes.
How will you reconcile the provisions of Florida's Burt-Harris Act when considering zoning changes to commercial and residential property in Juno Beach?
Could you repeat the question one more time?
Yes, ma'am. How will you reconcile the provisions of Florida's Burt-Harris Act?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the
Okay, when considering zoning changes to commercial and residential property in Juno Beach?
Well, first of all, the Loggerhead Act is a law just in Florida. And it is a law really made for the property owners. So if the government somehow restricts them from building what they want to build, they have a recourse to claim this before they sue the town and ask for financial compensation. And I think that's a very fair act, and I'm glad we have it. And I think if people, feel that it applies to them, just go for it. Thank you.
Scott?
Thank you. When I started getting interested a year ago, one of the things that I was hearing about was the Burt-Harris Act. And so I started reading up on it, and it makes sense, but we don't have any examples of lawsuits that cite the Burt-Harris Act. It's kind of like a straw man. So I'm interested to hear about it, but I don't think it's very important. But
Well, I guess I could say that we can't put any restrictions on any development until October of 2027 because of SB 180. Now, the legislature in Tallahassee can go ahead and remove that come come 2026, this session. So I don't believe a Burt-Harris Act can come into town before that because we can't restrict anything until then anyway. So the current ones that we may be having, or any other lawsuits that we may be having in town, you know, it's draining the taxpayer dollars. I mean, we need to represent our town, our attorneys need to represent you, the residents. That comes out of your pocket. So I would hope that a resident wouldn't file a Bert Harris claim. And again, if we're doing things by law, we will get sued.
Thank you, David.
So I also think the Bert Harris Act presents a risk to the town if a citizen were to file a claim under it. It essentially amounts to them claiming we're essentially condemning part of their property or preventing them from making best use of their property. So it is a risk, but I see it as limited, as Elaine said, for the next couple of years due to the State Bill 180 and the prohibition against us making our zoning requirements more strict until that time. Thank you.
And David?
So like I said earlier, I'm all for exploring different ways that we could change our ordinances, namely in the commercial realm, to prevent the overdevelopment of the entire town, specifically the intersection of Route 1 and Donald Ross. I mean, we see the direction that's going, and it is going to have a detrimental impact if things keep going in the direction they are. Whenever I mention, looking into changing the ordinance, the Bert Harris issue always does come up. I spent the weekend researching the Bert Harris Act a little bit, and it's one of those things. I've never practiced commercial real estate, so I'm not an expert in this, but I know how to do a legal analysis, of course. However, why don't we consult with someone who's litigated a Bert Harris action and see what the options are as far as changing the ordinance to make everyone happy and keep Juno Beach the way we want it. That's the way to appropriately do things. I follow the evidence of expert advice.
Okay, question number 8. We'll start with Scott. What are your feelings about the preserve between Loggerhead Turtle Hospital and Ocean Royal condominiums? Do you envision it ever being developed by the county with Juno's council approval? Would you approve it?
Well, we have a really unique situation with our turtle population, and I would be in favor of protecting it. But I'm kind of also concerned about the protection of our green space. And somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand that we are allowed to, the town is allowed to buy property out west and then trade the function between that piece and what we have in town. And I wouldn't do it. I would maintain the green space.
Right.
So I'm proud to say, when I was on the dais, that we made a change to our codes and our town charter, that it has to be a unanimous vote by council. All 5 members of council have to vote in order to change our environmentally sensitive lands. There's no change. Those are protected. Can a land swap come? Technically, yes. I can't prevent that from happening, right? But I mean, that being said, no one can stop the rains from happening either. Like, if it's God's will, it's God's will. That's it, that's that. But we put every single protection we could. You need a unanimous vote of council. All 5 members of council have to approve to allow any sale, any building, anything with the preserves. So, and it's part of the charter. So it's not a 3-2 vote anymore to change it. It has to go through a charter amendment, a referendum. It takes a lot more work and effort. And I will tell you that I will be the one veto to stop that. I will protect our lands.
David?
I'm also a strong advocate of protecting the environmentally sensitive lands in our town, including what's between Ocean Royale and Juno. I would definitely not support those lands being converted or made available for sale. That's my position on that. Thanks.
Yes, I mean, one of the best things about Juno Beach is our preserves. It's essential to our culture, to our community. I mean, you think Coretta's bad. The environmental impact that disturbing any of our protected lands would have is tremendous and irreversible. I love Juno Beach because we do take the environment and our green spaces so seriously. It's my understanding that 42% of the land in Juno Beach is protected. There are these 99-year easements and leases to protect the land. It is my understanding as well that it takes a unanimous vote to disrupt that, which I think I don't think you'll ever have one vote. Who in their right mind would want to disrupt the green land and the nature preserves that we have? It's essential to us. I mean, it's who we are. It's our community. I hope it never becomes an issue because I think it's unanimous that it's so important to everyone.
Marianne?
I also think we don't have to worry about the preserves. I think they are as well protected as they could possibly be. I understand up to 50 years, and I agree with people, it takes all 5 councillors to agree if there should be any change. And if you know our council, it's very hard to get 3 to agree, never mind all 5. So I feel very, very safe that these preserves will be there, and they are important, and make really Juno Beach what it is. That's why we like it. And we should be very concerned to keep Juno Beach in this way, the way it was always. Thank you.
And Elaine, this question is yours. 4 attorneys, including 3 town attorneys and an outside specialist, have stated that the Harmony ordinance is legal. But developers and real estate brokers spread false information that the ordinance is illegal. Do you stand with the legal advice of the attorneys on the false information that, this is the question, that self-serving interests are spreading through the town?
Well, being married to an attorney, I know that the law is a gray matter. There's facts on both sides, right? There's no, very seldom is it a black and white issue, right? I mean, there's, how can I say this and be politically correct? Just say it, yeah. The laws of gray matter. You can have one attorney fighting this argument and one attorney fighting this argument, and they can both be right. It's practice of law. So I'm not gonna take I'm not gonna say that, I really fumbled this one. Anyway, no one side is correct, okay? It's just, I will go and I will research and I will do the best I can with the attorney's guidance, but I will also challenge the attorneys because I want them to be able to look at all the facts from every angle.
Thank you. David?
Thanks. So I think this is a huge issue for our town. We have a council and council members pushing, amending our codes because they claim they're illegal when our legal counsel says they are legal. It calls into question the motive of the counselors. It calls into question their decision-making ability to declare that something is indeed illegal despite the legal advice they're receiving from the paid town attorney. I think it's a egregious conclusion they've drawn, and that it's not right, and that they should not be pushing to amend our codes at the last minute prior to an election, because none of us understand why they're doing that.
So, I've been a court clerk. I practiced in civil law. I was a criminal defense attorney. I was an FBI agent for 22 years. There's one thing in common on all civil matters and all criminal matters. You have two sides with legal opinions that say exactly the opposite thing. And both sides have case law and applicable law to support it and argue for it passionately. I have all the respect in the world for the town attorneys, and I value their advice. However, we have to do what's right. And as far as doing something just because it's legal, there have been many times in my career where I was legally justified in shooting someone, and I chose not to. Just because you could legally do it doesn't mean shit.
Mary Ann.
Thank you.
Mary Ann.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this question, and I say, well, the attorneys agree, but if homeowners challenge it, and they have, like with the Burt Harris Act, they have ways to do it, or it can be challenged if it is more burdensome to the property owner, then who is going to pay the bill, the legal bill, and the fines? And that's ultimately the town. And so I'm kind of very reluctant to go along with this because I consider it a risk, and it will be on the shoulders of the taxpayers. And I would hate to do this to my fellow citizens, my neighbors, etc. I personally think, yes, lawyers agree, but there comes a moment also where lawyers are being challenged by other lawyers, and we might get a different solution. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is in ordinance 163, or state statute 163.3202, where it says that a municipality can't apply architectural review unless, and then item 7 says the town has a board to do the review, which we do. Now, in a recent September newsletter, we read that it is clearly stated that it is illegal. So I'm in a quandary. I think that it is legal, based on what I've read, to do architectural and appearance review.
Thank you. Next question, we start with David. And the question is, do you support removing the Citizen Planning and Zoning Board from the review process?
I do not support the removal of the Planning and Zoning Board from the single-family home review process. That is part of the amendments that the council is trying to pass, perhaps tomorrow night, and then a second reading in March. I think it's a little bit crazy. Most towns have planning and zoning boards. Most planning and zoning boards oversee all of the activity in the town. The fact that ours wishes to recuse itself from the oversight of single-family home development and approvals, I find a puzzling fact, and I don't agree with it. Thanks.
David?
No, I mean, I don't agree with removing the Planning and Zoning Board. I think that the Planning and Zoning Board is there to make sure that the ordinances as written are followed, and I think it's an essential part, and I never want to remove the citizens from any of the decision making. I mean, we're up here not to serve ourselves or advocate for our own personal needs. We're here to advocate for you. So, yeah, removing planning and zoning, I'm not for that at all.
Well, it is not that the Planning and Zoning Board has no job after they would terminate their service in this area. They still have the commercial end of, they have big developments, but I listen to these meetings of the Planning and Zoning Board, and they have concerns that are very valuable, that I agree with. It is easy to say, oh, give them the responsibility, but if they themselves believe that they can't fulfill this, then we either have to look for other planning and zoning people, or we just accept their wish. They wanted to be there, and now we appointed them, and they have a say to so, a say in the matter.
Time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. This is another one that's puzzling to me because I find things in the code of ordinances that say things like, well, the staff has the final say. And I never have encountered any organization, government, or business where the staff or the people at the bottom are going to make the rules. It should be, we should have a staff that analyzes, reports to the board, and the board makes the decision, and the decision can be appealed to the council. But it's confusing to me when I read the code. That's the way I think it should be organized. Thank you.
I believe we should let our professional staff handle it. The town council is a policy-making board. And once we get elected, we appoint people to the P&Z, citizens to the P&Z. They are volunteers, and we're grateful to have them, and their input is crucial. That being said, it could also be subjective, and I believe in love thy neighbor, not say, you know, I think your house is going to be white, I would like it to be blue, so I'm not going to pass it. I think subjectivity shouldn't take a place in our P&Z board, you know, with the single family home aspect. Everything else, mixed use, commercial, duplexes, yes, but for single family homes, I don't think the P&Z should have a say. I think it should be our professionals, and then if they have, if they want to appeal to the town council for review, they can do that.
Thank you. Next question we start with Eddie. Eddie, how should the council support local law enforcement? And are you for or against the police foundation?
Geez, how do you think I'm going to answer this one? You know, wow. I've practiced law enforcement all across the country. I've been overseas. I've been to the Middle East. I've been to Europe for the FBI. And I think Juno Beach and Doha, Qatar are two of the safest places in the world. Two of the places in the world where, you know, I would let my fiance just walk around by herself any time of the day or night on any street in any neighborhood. The police are doing a great job. They have my full support. I think the volunteer police, they play an important role in supporting our police, and when they need emergency equipment, I mean, they're there with donations. The system is running great, and from a law enforcement officer, you know, how many people here are that afraid of their cars being robbed tonight, that you're here tonight and their homes are being robbed? I don't think anyone has that big concern. I don't see any worried looks on the faces, so the machine's working.
I agree. I really am very supportive of our police. I know all the officers. I know most of the volunteers. They do a marvelous job in Juno Beach. They keep us safe. One of the safest places, I would say, besides Doha, right? Okay. And so I also support the police foundation. I think it's very essential that people who want to help the police have a way of showing their appreciation by making their donations. And the police has the advantage now to get things that are not in the budget, that they have to enforce their laws even better and easier and more perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I like the idea of the people contributing to the foundation. I would probably maybe rather see more Juno residents on their board. That would be better. But I'm happy that we have a good police foundation and we're contributing.
The Town of Juno Beach budget line item for the police department covers their expenses. The police foundation covers the extras. And I'm in full support of both. We need to protect our police so they can protect us. And if people want to donate their time and money to help our town, I'm grateful and I'm thankful.
I also vociferously support our police department and think they do a fantastic job. And I think it's great that there's a police foundation and that they supplement the needs of the police department. I have looked at their website and read some of their materials. I don't fully understand what they do. It's not entirely transparent, and I'm not certain what all the benefits that are passed along to the police are. So I think it's worthy of continuing to work with them and perhaps better understand their mission and their principles. So I think there's work to be done there to fully leverage the police foundation. Thanks.
Okay, we're really out of time, but I have one question that if we go on time while the timekeeper set up for your 2-minute closing statement, do you think that the town should have a newsletter, yes or no? Elaine?
Just a quick yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
No. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, the town have a newsletter?
Should the town have a newsletter?
The town should have a newsletter, yes.
David?
I agree with that. There should be one newsletter from the town and not a lot of independent newsletters from council persons and people that are sharing their particular point of view, which may not be the town's official point of view, excuse me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback on what Elaine and Dave just said, yeah, I mean, there should be a town newsletter. I like the idea of having one newsletter. Believe me, I'm biggest proponent of First Amendment rights. I get it. You know, another, just the situation, I think in this situation, I like the idea of one newsletter, get the information out in a truthful way to the people.
Yes, that was yes or no, right?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Thank you.
You might be surprised at my answer because I'm one of the people who has a newsletter, although I call it more a blog. It's more like an opinion piece. I started it before I was on the council. I enjoy writing and I loved it.
Yes.
However, I would be willing to give it up if the town had an official newsletter
Thank
to
you.
inform the people, but then the question is, who is writing this letter?
Okay, so that's all I need for now. Thank you.
What did you say?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. That's good.
Yes, we should have the newsletter.
Thank you. And now we'll go with the closing statements. And as I mentioned at the beginning, for this, we'll start at the far right and move to the left. And we will start with you. Scott, we're starting with you for your closing statement. 2 minutes.
Thank you, everyone. We need to be careful when we hear talking points. Everyone, including me, is using the talking point that we need to slow down and control growth. That's everyone here and everyone on council. So why is Juno trying to build up so fast if everyone thinks we are moving too fast? Another talking point is that we need to be more civil. So why is the tone in our council and in our neighborhood so angry and uncivil? I also believe we need more dialogue and less of a mayor interrupting and silencing attendants and silencing fellow council members. Maybe we need an additional meeting for open dialogue. Sometimes laws require discussion to be in the open, and we don't have enough discussion. We don't allocate the time. Something needs to be done to open it up. Another thing I learned is that our condos have problems with traffic and assessments. Assessments are increasing due to the building in Miami that fell down, resulting in more focus on building integrity and safety. Meanwhile, our town seems more focused on the 300 plus houses surrounding the town center, while our revenue from property taxes comes largely from our condo dwellers. When I pass out flyers, I always point to the bottom of the sheet where my email and phone number are shown and tell the citizen to contact me if they think of a question. And I invite you to do the same. Thank you for listening.
Elaine? I'm sorry, Mary Ann, I'm sorry. Mary Ann.
Okay. It was a compliment. Use the point. I'm going. I forget the microphone. As a teacher, I never had one. You know, I had to speak loud. So this is no. How's that? Okay. When you're going to vote, I would like you to remember me, your outspoken, retired high school teacher turned councilwoman. I would like to continue my service to the community. Now I have 3 terms, 3 big C's: cordiality, consensus, and finding common ground are the 3 pillars of my vision for Juno Beach. And I would be honored to earn your vote. Cordiality, I find right now is lacking. And I think we could start building on this. Consensus is a word I hear very seldom. And we should work on this too. Consensus is not a bad word. It's something how the world works. And common ground, I think we can find common ground if we look for it. What we have to do, we have to give up our notion, our preconceived notion. Be open. And as Elaine said, listen. Don't talk, listen. Use your time wisely that we have in the towns, during the town council meeting. And remember, citizens talk for 33 minutes. Councilors talk sometimes for 18 minutes. That should be corrected. There is an imbalance. So please, don't forget me. Thank you.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for coming out tonight, and really thank you for the amount of attention that you've paid. I mean, looking out the audience, I didn't see anyone dozing off. I didn't see anyone yawning. So it looks like you're all paying attention, which I really appreciate that, because this is that important, and you're here for that reason. Also, thank you for the thoughtful questions. I mean, that goes to show me again that you guys are really thinking about this kind of stuff, and it means a lot to you. So that you have such well thought out questions, I mean, that shows that your heart's in this just as much as I am. You know, I've dedicated my entire life to public service, and it's my calling. I'm not doing this for an award, for a pat on the back, for the paycheck. I'm doing this because I've always fought for the things that I believe in, and more than anything else, I believe in this town. Again, since 17 years old, this is the only place I've ever wanted to live, and I could live anywhere in the world, and this is where I've chosen. So this town means everything to me. I've explained to you, just with my background, a legal background, a law enforcement background, I follow the facts. I mean, I'm an investigator. I track things down. I don't operate based on opinion, personal feelings. No, like there has to be a basis. There has to be an evidentiary basis behind everything. You have to either make yourself an expert in the topic, or you have to consult an expert. But like, well thought out decisions, not just, oh, I feel, I think, da, da, da. No, like, these are important decisions because developers, they're not sitting there operating, oh, I think, I feel. No, they have hard evidence. We need harder and better evidence and stronger arguments. That's my approach. I hope I won you over today. I'd love to serve you in this town. Thank you.
Like others have said, thanks so much for coming out and listening to us. What I've seen in the last few years, like many of you, is the emergence of the Coretta project, and a lot of us questioning exactly how did that happen and what did the town give away to a developer. I know that it was a difficult discussion and negotiation. A lot of councilors did what they thought was right, and that they too didn't perhaps expect it to look the way that it does. I think we're at a tipping point here where we've had a lot of commercial properties sell, and we need to be ready for applications that will come in to convert them. And I think we need a change of approach on town council, and a council that represents its people and that puts the town's interests first and advocates for keeping the town's character. I don't think our current council does that, and I think our developers perhaps know that. There's been some precedent set that they may come in and feel will be repeated for them. I've negotiated a lot of contracts with FPL in my previous position, and I think we're leaving money on the table and we're leaving issues on the table in these negotiations currently, and I would like to fight for the town in those negotiations to bring about a better outcome for our town. I've also got a ton of experience with environmental management, and we have a lot of environmental issues here. And I've got a lot of experience with hurricane preparation and response that I've done over the years. We've had a lot of hurricanes. I manage a lot of facilities and projects where they hit. So there's a lot of attributes and skills I can bring to the table to help the town, and I hope you'll consider voting for me. Thanks.
Elaine?
Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate your time. I'm the mayor that's ready to serve on day one. If I get elected, I would be honored. I'm asking for your vote. I will be collaborative. I will research. I will talk with our staff. I will work with council members and come to an agreement. It's called negotiation. It's called work. It's called collaboration and finding the common ground that we all can come to the best deal for our community. Coretta is like the monster in the room, and I can only tell you that the 5 council members, Joe Labello, who was the town manager at the time, and Planning and Zoning Board followed the laws and passed what is a very good project for our town. I think, like Marianne said earlier, once the fence comes down, landscaping goes in, it softens, it will be a better project with commercial and mixed-use residents. And, you know, it is what it is. You can't stop development. You can't stop growth. Trust me. I mean, I would love to have my little kids here again, my 6 and 9-year-old when I came to Juno Beach, but growth is inevitable, change is inevitable. We have to negotiate the best deals we can. Being on council before, I know our town codes, I know our comp plans, I have good working relationship with our staffs, consultants, other local municipalities, and county and state, and I can help get through the finish line, connect everybody, and give us the best outcome with your voice in my head. I will be your independent voice on council. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know, earlier I promised you the opportunity to applaud with gusto. Now is the time. It's a huge undertaking to volunteer to help serve your community, and for that, your community thanks you. Ladies and gentlemen, the candidates and the views that you heard from the candidates, again, are those of the candidates and not of the League of Women Voters. And this, by sponsoring this event, in no way supports their candidacy.